Hey, Zero to Pass coming at you with a updated Chaos Breaker deck post 9/28/2021 ban list where Zinc got banned. And so as you know, I put a React video up there, somewhat React video, just talking about different things we can do for Chaos Breaker. And I wanted to bring you a more complete list that I have at this time, give you guys options, ideas of what to do. The deck is far from dead. It's not dead. It really isn't. But you just have to maybe work a little harder, be a little bit more creative, unfortunately. But we don't have Zinc, so if you want to keep playing Chaos, you got to kind of work with what we got. So we're definitely playing Vieira Chaos Breakers, 13k base. We definitely want that. On Vanguard Chaos Circle, if your opponent has a locked card, this gets +10 on your turn, which is really good. It makes it a 23k beater. And on the rear guard, that's just really phenomenal. I'm glad this card has a rear guard ability, which can really help pressure. Other abilities on here, once per turn, Counterblast. Give your opponent a gift marker, either force 1 or 2, and they have to stick with that during the rest of the game. They get to choose. They get to put it wherever they want, and you lock one of your opponent's cards. When one of your opponent's cards is unlocked, you can Soul Blast one and retire that card and draw a card as many times as you like. It's no longer limited to being a Starvator, which is really, really cool. Yeah, and I really appreciate that. When you unlock a card, you can take up to 2 of your opponent's gifts away, whether they be Protect, Excel, whatever you have, maybe the force markers that you gave them, and gain 2 yourself. So as you see, he doesn't have a gift marker here, but he gives and then he takes away. It's very thematic, very flavorful, and very much appreciated. So I'm running 2 Close. Close is basically useful for striding. When you use this as a cost of stride, Soul Blast 1, force your opponent to take a card from their hand and place it onto one of the rear guard circles as locked. So this helps take a few cards off your opponent's hand. And so I'm running that at 2 because I am running a card that I still strongly feel is necessary if you want to be competitive, and that's Freeze Ray. The way Freeze Ray works is it's a static effect on your opponent's turn. Whenever you take damage, you can lock one of your opponent's cards. This is very good against things like Grand Blue, where they're going to hollow their units and those units are going to be retired at the end of turn. It's good against Pale Moon, where they're going to go back into Soul at the end of turn. Both those clans are still going to be very strong, in premium, in my opinion. And so Freeze Ray is going to help you as a Chaos player, whatever kind of Link Joker player you are, really help early game. You really kind of want to hit this early. I'm running it at 3. You could run it at 2. It gets a little bit more difficult then, but I definitely would keep this at 3. You could go up to 4, take Close all out of here altogether, opening up another slot for some other card, but definitely Freeze Ray. The other abilities really not that useful. So, but that's a card that got reprinted, and very happy it got reprinted. And again, you can argue with me all day about this. I would say this card is still very much needed if you want to play competitive. If you want to play tier 2 casual, by means, go ahead and remove it. Grade 2's Zirconium. Zirconium is on place Vanguard Rear Guard Circle. You Counterblast 1. Your opponent takes a card, let's see, from the top of their deck, and they place it on one of the rear guard circles as locked. If they put it in the front row, you basically have locked up a column, which is great. If they put it in the back row, this gets +10k, and you get to draw a card. +10k until end of turn, you get to draw a card. Also, if your opponent has a locked card, your Starvator Vanguard gets a critical reset to 2. So it's not additive. It's resetting. So if you have 2 of these out, this does not become 3. Okay. Or if you've Strode and you have Chaos in the heart, whatever, as long as you've got Chaos because it's a Starvator, right? Or if you have Freeze Ray, it's a Starvator. Remember that your heart card gives the name to your stride. So, but again, not additive, but very much pressuring, especially for things like start plays. And then I've got Collapse in here. I've been hard on this card before, but Collapse, the way Collapse works is on Vanguard Rear Guard, when it hits Vanguard, you can check the top 5, and you can ride or call a grade 3 Cyber Dragon, which these both are, to that circle. So this really helps pressure early to try to ride up, try to cheat in either Freeze Ray or Chaos Breaker. So I'm running it. I kind of don't see why you wouldn't run this right now, just given the way things are. And, you know, Bendy got hit, but, you know, this didn't get hit. So, you know, Luard got hit a bit, right? Kind of tried to slow it down, but we still have this to help try to speed us up. This is a little bit more guardable, of course. It's not as strong. So, you know, in all fairness there. But I would still consider very much so running this. If you really detest this card, you could run 4 Photon if you like. I do have 2 Bobo in here. Bobo is good and bad for this deck. Bobo is really good for decks that are going for one-shot wins. It's very good for decks that, like Oracle Think Tank, for example, where you're not at as much damage, but you can set up to where you can just close the game out. For grindy decks, Chaos can be a bit more grindy. You may not be able to do this. You may already be at the damage beyond the threshold of where Bobo actually works. So if you have, what is it? Let's see here. Yeah, if it's 3 or less in your damage zone. If this had 4, it might be better. But it says if you have 3 or less damage, GP1 on place, you get to soul charge, counter charge, and damage yourself. And you do get the trigger, which is awesome. But it's a fairly questionable addition to this deck, just the way the deck plays. But it could definitely be helpful nonetheless for a countercharging as well as soul charging possibility. If you don't like this card and you want to keep Collapse, you definitely can put Photon in here. So definitely, I just want to talk about options that you can do along the way. Okay, and then grade 1s, we have Claw. Claw is a very interesting card. On attack, on boost, if this hits a Vanguard on either one of those types of attacks, you can then look at the top 5 cards of your deck and put a Starvader in your hand, really for free. This can go into Soul. You unlock one of your opponent's cards to lock another one. So say they lock a back row or a card in the back row, but they've got a card in the front row and you want that locked, you could use this to basically swap the lock, unlock the back row. If you've got Chaos as your Vanguard, you could then retire that unit if you want and then lock the front. So, of course, you would lock, unlock, and then retire just because of the way the stacks work. But yeah, and it's going to go into Soul, right? So Soul Charge, this effectively Soul Charges because we don't have Zinc anymore. And I'm going to say it again. The really important thing about Zinc for Chaos Breaker is, yes, the Counterblast is amazing, but the Soul Blast, or the counter charges that it gives so that you can Counterblast more is amazing. And we really do want that. We're going to miss that a bit. But the Soul Charging to Soul Blast, basically effectively 3 soul charge, is phenomenal. So I've got 3 White Dwarf in here on Vanguard Rearguard. Look at the top 5. Reveal a grade 3 if you would like. Put it in your hand and then discard a card. This also gets +5 K until the end of turn if your opponent has a face down card, buy in zone or in play. So in this case, it'll be for locked. This is one of the other cards that I've added in to help with the counterblasting issue because we want to countercharge. It's the old Cosmo Wreath. Cosmo Wreath, I believe this BTO4. No, this is BTO3. So BTO3, but is a set or 2 before. We got Zinc. This is what we had. The way these work is when you perfect guard, if you happen to have one of these in your discard, you can then countercharge 1. So if you put the first one in your discard, you use it. The next one you can countercharge. The next one you can countercharge. So it's 3 possibilities, 3 ways, three opportunities, I should say. Not possibilities, but opportunities to countercharge. So countercharger, and then these 4 having to have 1 in the discard to countercharge. So a little bit of a countercharge suite here. More reliable, I would say, just because of the way the deck runs. Bobo, again, try it, see if you like it. I'm going to keep them in there for a while, see how it goes for me. So yes, 11 grade 1s because we have Jail. The really cool thing about Jail coming from D is to play, when you end up playing this, you get a Soul Charge 3. That's phenomenal. That's like having a pair of Zinc in here. You actually could go up to more of this if you wanted to go down and close, for example. I really wouldn't want to go less than 11 grade 1 units, normal units. This is an order. So the way this works is in order to play this, you're going to have to rest one of your units. Say you rest this, and then you can still use the ability to shove it into Soul. You can do that. So think about opportunities like that. That would be effectively for Soul Charge, right? Because 3 plus the 1, it's not bad at all. So think about that. I also have carbon in here. I used to mainboard carbon, and people would be like, why are you doing this? Because it's basically a free colony maker, and it has 10k shield. You can go get him. So the way he works is you put him into soul, you can go get a grade 1 or less Starvator and put it into play. So you put this into your soul, go get this, use this, put this into your soul. It's effectively a 2 soul charge turn in that regard. Pretty cool. You can't get this. It doesn't say a Link Joker card. It says a Starvator. So there is that. And we're going to get to another card that this can kind of abuse as well. We play with our over trigger because over triggers are busted. We're playing with a stride fodder crit because you need to do that. We're playing with the into soul. Give your Vanguard on attack into soul. It's GB1 into soul. Give your Vanguard +10 and draw a card. This card, it's going to help us draw a card. It's going to give us soul charge. It's pretty good. So I would consider running that. You'll see here I've got a lot of crit. This is the other card that Carbon can go get. Paradigm Dragon. Even if your opponent doesn't have a locked card, you can use this. So if I'm not mistaken, right? Yeah, just as a cost, put this on top of your deck. If your opponent has a locked card, you choose one of your opponent's rear guards in the back row and lock it. So this is a recycling crit. You could effectively never deck out. And I like running this at 3. You could run it at 2. I like running it at 3. As you see, I have no draw PGs because my perfect guards are currently in the grade 1 slot. He effectively makes up for that draw you're losing because this is going to go into soul. What I see is that if you have the perfect guard draw trigger in there, you're going to replace this with that. So you're effectively replacing draw with draw. This is a little bit more controllable draw. You really get to decide when to do it. And honestly, any deck out there that's not running this, I would very much question because this is a very useful card. It's very much in the same line as the other criticals and even stand triggers that you're seeing be reprinted. This would have been a really good reprint, to be honest. I would have really liked to have seen this one. For my heal triggers, I'm running 3 of the V-Era heals. They're 20Ks. You also have to throw heal triggers to G-Guard, so be mindful of that. My last heal trigger I'm running is the Starvator heal that says when you use this to call a G-Guardian, you can then check for a heal in your discard, bind it and this to either soul charge or counter charge. So more soul charge, counter charge package. So yeah, and then of course these. So what I want to do now is just kind of review what we have here with regards to helping Chaos Breaker get good. Okay, again, I guess is how we would say it. So let's see what we got here. Lots of tools, lots of things to do to help both soul charge and counter charge. So we're gonna put this here for now. We'll get to the G zone here in a second. So this trigger goes into soul charge, right? 4 opportunities right there, right out of the, let's see, where are we? Oh yeah. This is our heal. So soul charge or counter charge. Okay, so soul charge or counter charge. Soul charge and counter charge, right? So these are going to go into soul for their ability, right? So lots of soul going on here. These counter charge, right? And this is soul charge and effectively soul charge. So lots of soul charge in here that we have. This will soul charge. This can choose either or, soul charge or counter charges, counter charges, and then lots of soul charge. So if you want to, you could go up to 2 of this if you would like. It's not a bad move. If you don't like these in terms of having other counter chargers, again, I stress that I'm not sure Bobo is really the best for the deck, but it's definitely an option. And we're going to get to the G zone in a minute. We're going to see that the biggest thing that we really want in the deck, honestly, is just a lot of soul charging. And so, yeah, this is where I'm at right now. Go ahead and try what you will and see what works for you. Keep Bobo in here for now. And let's see here. Just going to go ahead and get all my cards back in line. And we've got 2 of that. And then our heal, and then our crits. I have to just keep in order. Ken, please do not underestimate Paradigm. It's really good. It's won me games. I know it has. Especially when I only have a few, maybe 4 or 5 cards left. Really just grinding the game out. That card is phenomenal. Yeah. So let's look at options. Again, just want to stress it. Photon in place of Bobo if you want. Maybe you want to go up on Bobo. I wouldn't go more than 3. You may want more jail. Maybe you want to take out the 1 carbon, put in more jail. Maybe you want more carbon. It's really up to you. Maybe you want more of the heal, countercharge, soul charge. It's really good. This is actually probably one of our better options, to be honest. I would say this is probably better than this. The problem is this only has 5K. And I'm trying to keep as much 10K triggers in the deck as I can. But honestly, this is probably better than Bobo. Lacus Karina trigger kind of works the same way. This is going to countercharge, but it's only if you chuck it for Lacus Karina. Very limited. I just showing it as an option here, but honestly, it's very, very limited. Depending on what you do, you might want to go back up to 4. I wouldn't probably run 4 of this, but let's see what we got. And yeah, we already have that in there. We already had. Not sure why he's hanging out there. Just decided to say hi. Hey, I'm more copies of that. And so those are the options I'd really strongly consider. Again, if you want to consider other grade 2s that counterblast, Globaladium and Dubnium. Those are really the only ones that I would even remotely consider. Grade 1s, you notice that Barrel wasn't in there. Barrel is the on-place Soul Blast. Force your opponent to not be able to, basically, it forces your opponent to be Omega locked and Omega deleted. We're not playing deleters in here, but that's what it does. It's a very good card. I had to take it out for Cosmo Wreath. My other video I talk about, do I really want to take it out? I'm giving it a try. I find that I don't always need Barrel, and I find a lot of my games I don't even play it. It's really good when you ride on Freeze Ray first, and you get stuck on Freeze Ray for a while, especially against a deck that bounces itself. Be it either into soul or discard or whatever. So it's very useful. But, you know, running 3 or 4, you're definitely going to have to change out the deck there a bit if you want to keep them. I do. It's just we lost ink, so I'm kind of playing with what we got. We got our starter. So 2 universes. Once per turn, counterblast 1, and force your opponent to take a card from hand. And you choose an open rearguard circle, and they place it face down as locked. If you have 2 or more up in your G zone, you can then lock one of your other opponent's cards. So it's a decent first stride. It's better if you've G guarded before playing this, so that you can actually lock 2 cards. But we definitely want this at a pair, and we still have it. Deluge, what is GB3, right? Just want to make sure, yeah. GB3 once per turn. Soul Blast 2, discard a card, force your opponent to take 2 cards from hand, place them in rearguard circles as locked, and they have to retire if their board's full. And then you take one of those cards and damage it with them, damage them with it face down. I definitely run this at least 2. You could run it at 3, but at least 2. 2 works for me most of the time. Alpha Thani card that's fairly controversial. It can be a good first stride. The way it works is this one you have to persona flip. That's why I've got 2 of them. This one you can flip anything in your G zone. This one you have to flip a chaos card, maybe like this or this depending. But the way it works is on place, Soul Blast 1, flip a chaos in your G zone face up. You can lock up to 2 cards of your unit, of 2 units. You can lock up to 2 units of your opponent's. And if you can't, you get to draw 2 cards. So if they only have 1 card in play, you do as much as it says. You lock the 1, you check, you can't lock 2, so you draw 2. And then your front row units each get plus 2K. So 2 of your units, not the front row. You choose 2 of your units, so it's all about 2s. You choose 2 of your units and they get 2K. 2 cards, 2 units, 2K. There you go. I play Snowball, Glue Ball at 2. The way Glue Ball works is once per turn, you flip over Glue Ball and you Soul Blast 1. And for every card that's face up in your G zone, your opponent has to lock a card. So it's very good if you're at high GP. This is very, very much a terrible first stride. Better first stride would be Avalanche. Its evolved form, Avalanche, the way Avalanche works is act once per turn. You Soul Blast 1, flip a card up, any card. This is also Persona Flip. You flip up any card in your G-Zone, and you lock 2 of your opponent's rear guards. And this one actually says, yeah, all your front row units get plus 2k until the end of turn for each of your opponent's locked cards and face down cards in bind zones. So this is the one where it's the front row, and it's all the front row gets plus 2, and it's multiplicative depending on how many cards your opponent has locked face down and are in their bind zone face down. So barrier end, basically, you're going to, the way that works is, yeah, you flip up any unit in your G zone. You eat all your opponent's markers, their markers, their gifts, and for each one, this gets plus 10 in a critical. So if your opponent's sitting there with 2 protects, it's going to get plus 20 in a critical, or 2 criticals. If they got like 3 excel, it's going to get plus 30 in 3 crits. So it's a pretty pressuring card. It really just helps reset the board as well. I really like this card. Stark, you have to Persona Toss, meaning if you're on Chaos, you have to discard a Chaos for the cost of paying Ultimate Stride. You have to have 3 cards face up in your G-Zone in order to actually proc this. And if you have that, you're able to Persona Toss to Ultimate Stride, Counterblast 2. This card is going to be able to attack 3 times, minus 2 drive techs each time. So it can be very pressuring, especially if this gets really big. G Guardians, Destiny Guardian, I've got 2 of them. Destiny Guardian, the way it works is on place G Guard circle. You have to discard a heal, remember, for the green cards, just for those people who are new to premium. I welcome you. And just want to explain a little bit. So the red cards are your strides, the ones you're going to attack with, be on your Vanguard. The green ones are your heal guardians. I like to think of it that way because you have to discard a heal to play this. So yeah, although I guess we call the heal guardians or the grade 3s now, right? Anyhow, so you have to discard a heal, whether it be a grade 3 that's going to be coming out or one of the grade 0s to play these. The way this one works is you can unlock 2 units, any 2 units, and this gets plus 20k until the end of that battle. Now, if you're on Chaos Breaker, you can then proc Chaos Breaker to actually retire those units with your opponent's units, and then draw more cards into hand. It's a really good line of play because you're able to get the 20k, you're able to guard with 35k, and then able to get 2 cards in hands and continue guarding as needed. Cosmo Wreath, this one on place, Counterblast 1, choose, and then your opponent. Your opponent chooses a rear guard in their back row and locks it. It's okay. It's going to help shut down a bit of boost, but this is also going to get, let's see, is it going to get, yeah, it gets plus 5, so it becomes a 20. It's really lackluster compared to this, but sometimes you need this. If your opponent has not much going on, you may not be able to do this. Allax, Karina, GB1, you have to flip one of your other G guards to play this ability. You counterblast 1 for each card of yours that you lock in your back row. Your opponent has to likewise lock a card in their back row. It's okay. It helps accelerate to get into Stark if needed. And it can actually shut down Megiddo plays. So that's really why I have the card in here. It's really for that kind of play. So, and then I have Dismal. Dismal has resist. The way Dismal works is when you put some Guardian Circle, choose one of your rear guards and it can no longer be targeted for the rest of the attacks. So it basically gives your unit, say like Zirconium, it gives it resist. So, yeah. So that's where I'm at with regards to Chaos post 9/28, 2021 ban list. And I welcome all comments, criticisms, whatever. I'd like to hear what y'all are doing, but that's kind of where I'm at right now. Give it a whirl. Again, I think Bobo's probably the weakest out of all those, but you know, we'll see. We'll see over time. I just know that when I get rushed and I'm already at 4 damage, Bobo is not doing anything, whereas the PG Flipper, Cosmo Wreath, would definitely be doing a lot more for me. So yeah, there is that. And then again, the heal trigger, this is really good, and I'd say it's better than Bobo. So other than the fact that it's now a 5K trigger instead of a 10K trigger, which, as we all know, can be very important in premium. Yeah. So I hope you guys are doing well this week. I hope you've been having a good week. For some of you, I think it's already Thursday. It's still Wednesday for me in the evening. Just got back from work a little bit ago, but just wanted to bring this to you. I know that there's stirrings out there in the Chaos community that, oh, it's bad. Oh, it can be fixed, which is, I'm kind of more in that camp. But yeah, it hurts. I know. I hear you. Zinc was really the fix to Chaos back in 2016, I believe it was, January. Around that, in 2016, I believe it was when we got it. Or was it 2015? I've lost track. But when we got it, I remember opening that case. I remember pulling SP Universe. I'm pretty sure I pulled, yeah, SP Universe, and had a ton of zincs, a ton of carbons, a ton of paradigm dragons, and it was good times. So we'll see how it goes. You know, will they end up unbanning it? I don't know. Maybe restricting it to one. I don't really know. Definitely that would have been pretty awesome. We could use carbon at that point to try to just go get the one. But, you know, hey, they flat out banned tarot as well. You know, people thought that would be tarot to one. But instead of doing that, they just decided to just flat out ban things like that. So I'm now going to be working on, for my Nuba fam, you know, there's a couple decks, or I should say a couple clans that I main. And I try to just bring stuff to you for both, you know, Chaos, but we're going to be working on Daihausen, because we've got Japanese, my Japanese cards here. And I hope that I can kind of put something together tonight, tomorrow, to start hopefully playtesting this weekend, see what we can do. One of the things I've been thinking about is using Moarch to cheat in GB. Moarch's still around. You know, Moarch's a way that we can get GB online early, whereas all the other things were taken away. Tempest Sphere, Zazon, that's not surprising. Tempest Sphere's gone. That was the other way that, you know, it was more the generic kind of, everybody could do that. If you have one damage, which of course you just damage yourself now in Tempest Sphere. So I don't know if the design group thinks that this is really going to fix premium. I've kind of heard that, people saying that, but we'll see. So basically just got the ride line of Daihausen, and then one of my favorite grade 2s, as you know, Yamashibuki. The card's just phenomenal. So it works really well overall, and helps fuel Jockey Mesa plays, of course. So that's where we're at, fam. Got this, and then working on this guy. So until next time, stay safe, wear your masks, peace.